Hey guys, so I just wanted to share on the topic of prayer and how God can transform the desires of our heart. So Psalm 37 verse 4 says, "Delight yourself in the Lord and he will give you the desires of your heart." So what I love about that verse is it implies that there's a relationship going on between us and God. As we delight in him, he gives us the desires of our heart. So there's like this exchange going on. I think before I used to interpret it differently. I used to think that, okay, well, I have a desire for this, so the more that I seek God first, he's going to make this come to pass. But what I actually learned is that when we are drawing near to God and we're delighting in him, it's that he begins to transform the desires of our heart, and we become more one with God and more in tune with the Holy Spirit and with truth. And as we are in that process of sanctification, sometimes the desires that we once had begin to change or evolve and become something different. And I think that it's good for us to learn in prayer how to drop our agendas. But even when we don't and we've held on to something for a long time, God is still working in us through that process, and he gets us to a place of peace and acceptance where we can release something that never did come to pass. And we begin to trust God that, if it didn't work out for us, then it wasn't in our best interest, and that he has something else in store for us. So I just wanted to share that. I think that it can be confusing as a believer at times. Like, we read into scriptures a certain way, and sometimes, we kind of miss it because we're still maybe immature in certain areas in our flesh, and we discern it in a different way at the time. But what I'm realizing, though, it's that when we are putting God as our focus and making him the center, he does begin to do a massive work in our lives, in our hearts, where we change, and the things we desire change, and what we used to think we wanted or liked, that can change. And so it's always like this dynamic process that's always going on. It's never static when we're in relationship with Christ. And as we're seeking him more and more and we're drawing near to him, you'll see that looking back years behind you, maybe even a year ago, that the things that you thought you wanted at that point is not what you want anymore. And maybe there's something that you want and it hasn't changed, and that's okay too. But what I'm saying is that God is just going to give you wisdom, and he's going to help you make decisions for yourself that are going to honor God and honor you and others. And it's an imperfect world, so there's going to be consequences to anything we choose. There's going to be pros and cons. But as we are delighting ourselves in God, he's going to give us that ability to discern better and to make better decisions. So just to encourage you guys, if you're in this place where maybe you've been waiting on God for something, or been desiring something, and again, I want to just make that point clear that if you still have a desire for something and hasn't gone away, don't think that it's ungodly for you to have that desire. But maybe God is still working on you in some areas in your life and in your walk with God. Sometimes we think if this desire comes to pass, we're going to be happy or complete, and it's deceptive, because we have to find contentment with God alone, and otherwise we get kind of disillusioned and we try to find it in outside sources. But there's always going to be imperfections. Like, this world is not perfect. So the more that we realize that, we're going to have more peace just learning to abide with God. And there's a verse that says godliness with contentment is great gain. So the more that we draw near to him and we abide in him, you're going to experience that peace, that even when things are unanswered or desires haven't been met yet, you trust that God is in charge of that and he's sovereign over that. So just want to encourage you guys, and I hope you all have a great weekend. Take care.